Join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, everybody. How are you? So, I know Fuji Sensei always does this, but raise your hand if you are hungry. Okay? Raise your hand if you're sleepy. Oh. Now raise your hand if you're tired. So who is sleepy, hungry, and tired? Worst combination. So who can tell me what those three things combined are? That's called suffering. And today, we're going to talk about a man who was able to help reduce people's suffering. His name was Shinran Shoni. Have you heard of Shinran? Yeah, kind of? Ooh, no? Okay. Well, Shinran lived a really long time ago. He lived in 1173 to 1262. What year is it now? Can someone tell me? Yes. Oh no. He forgot. It's hard to remember sometimes, yeah? Correct. So that was a pretty long time ago, huh? So if you could flip the page. Okay. So Shinran had a big family of boys. He had 4 other brothers. Shinran is on the top there, if you can see him. So, what having 4 other brothers is also suffering. So Shinran wanted to find a cure for not only his suffering, but for everyone else's. Shinran lived at a time in Japan when there was a lot of suffering going on. There was a lot of wars happening between different people in Japan. And also, a lot of people were hungry and sleepy and tired and didn't have much food to go around. When Shinran was just 5 years old, is anyone 5 here? Anyone 5 years old? Okay. When Shinran was 5, his mother died. And Shinran had to go to an orphanage. He went to a temple to study Buddhism. When Shinran was 9, he joined the monastery and trained to become a monk. Here Shinran is in Gasho. Now at the temple, Shinran had to work really hard. Shinran had to study scripture, do chores for the temple, and also meditate every day. How many of you go to school? Okay. So every day you wake up, you get ready for school, you go to school, you study. What do you do after school? Yeah? Read. Oh, he reads. Does anyone, what else does people do? Yeah? Go home. Homework. Yeah? Take a nap. So can you imagine having every day to study really hard, do chores in your house, and meditate? That would be pretty hard work. So pretty soon, Shinran was 19 years old, and he had a very interesting dream. One night, Shinran dreamed that a bodhisattva came down and told him that he only had 10 more years to live. Okay. Now Shinran worked and studied and kept being a monk for 10 more years, but really what he did was he forgot his dream for 10 years. So unfortunately, when he was 29, he recalled his dream, which said he was going to die in 10 more years. Well, 10 more years were up. So naturally, Shinran was pretty worried about it. So he traveled to a temple and met a master named Honen. So Honen was a very wise, patient, and good teacher. Do you have a favorite teacher at school? Yeah. Can you tell me why that teacher is your favorite? Yeah, go ahead. Because she's nice. Anyone else? Mm-hmm. funny. Yeah? Helps you, yeah? She's kind. Well, Honen was kind and helpful and funny and patient. And so Shinran went to him and asked, "What am I to do, Sensei? How can I reduce my suffering because I'm very worried about dying?" Like all people, Shinran was worried and afraid of dying. And he realized that if his dream was true, he was going to die really soon. So he asked Honen what he should do. Now, Honen was a very wise sensei. So he told Shinran that death is inevitable. Like all humans, Shinran was going to die, and he had to accept it. But then Honen said something really, really wise. Honen told Shinran that there was one thing he could say to help himself accept his fate and to reduce his suffering. Can anyone guess what that one phrase is that he could say? Okay, he could say, "Namu Amida Butsu." Naturally, Shinran freaked out at this message because the simplicity of the phrase "Namu Amida Butsu" was so refreshing and so true, but also could help him reduce his suffering so easily. So Shinran was pretty excited about it. Shinran went on to recite Namu Amida Butsu every day and to spread this message around to his fellow Japanese. By saying Namu Amida Butsu, he was able to refocus on the things that he was grateful for rather than worrying about death and the things he was suffering about. By the time Shinran was 80 years old, he decided that he had to die. And so, at 80 years old, Shinran died. By that time, he had a wife and children, and also had many followers throughout Japan. But Shinran's legacy lived on. Shinran's legacy is that he made the phrase Namu Amida Butsu accessible for everyone. So today, people in America, people in Japan, people in China, and people all across the world can put their hands together and say Namu Amida Butsu. So this is what we have Shinran to thank for. So when you're feeling hungry or tired or sleepy, or maybe you're a little stressed out about school or work, then you can put your hands together and you can say Namu Amida Butsu in order to refocus on the things that you're grateful for. Because despite how hungry you may be or how sleepy, you still have a home and food and parents and people who love you. And for that, you can be grateful. So join me in Gasho. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu.